For our next segment, we're excited to welcome Liz Bouk. Am I saying that? Bouk. He is an opera singer and was just featured in Bumble's Most Inspiring New Yorkers list. Let's watch a clip of him on stage.
I will change your perception of all.
Wow, you've got one heck of a voice.
I got some good high notes in that clip.
Is that difficult to watch yourself when you know other people like myself are watching you?
Well, that clip I've watched a bunch, so I knew what to expect.
How did you get into opera?
So I was actually a really serious flute player.
Really?
In high school. Mm-hmm.
I played flute, but really badly, and it lasted like 2 months.
I was obsessed with it and wanted to be a professional flute player.
Wow.
So I had all this training. I was in youth orchestra, and it happened that in middle school and high school, the vocal teachers at school noticed that I had a voice. And so I became the alto section leader and sang in choir, was mostly behind the scenes in the chorus of all the musicals. And my senior year, my voice teacher did an opera, and she gave me a part, and that was my first opera.
So that really was what gave you your first break.
Yeah, she changed my life.
Do you still go back and say, is she still here to this
day?
day?
She's still here. Mm-hmm. I actually just spoke with her yesterday on the phone.
So you kept in touch.
Yes.
That's awesome. Look how teachers can change lives. Mm-hmm. That's incredible. So she must be so proud of you.
Yeah, her name is Judith Ranaletta.
Aw.
Yeah.
So you just came out as a trans man in your industry in May.
Yes.
How did that change your life?
Well, I think the most difficult thing for me, because of my career, is not being able to take hormones. Mm-hmm. When you find out you're in the wrong body, almost everyone wants to just okay, give me testosterone, please. Let me grow a beard and let me be a real man. Mm-hmm. But if I did that, then I would have to completely retrain. And as you hear from the clip, my voice is in a pretty good place right now, and I'm
beautiful, yeah.
happy with my career. So at the moment, I'm trying to find peace with being a man and living as a man here in New York City, mm-hmm. which is pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
But while still on the outside looking like a woman and singing female parts sometimes.
Do you think you'll ever go and take the hormones when you're ready to maybe embark in a different portion of your career or a different kind of career path?
Absolutely. I guess it depends what happens with my career. If I keep singing female parts, and sometimes I sing pants roles like you just saw, dressed up like a man, and I have an opportunity to express my gender identity there. Mm-hmm. So if my career keeps going well, then I probably won't take hormones. But if I were not an opera singer, I would have already taken those shots.
How has the opera world reacted to your news?
I mean, I've had an outpouring of support from colleagues and from the industry, actually. I've been really surprised.
Do you think that you can use your voice for helping people who are wanting to undergo a transition and just feel like you said, they're not in the right body? Do you feel like you now have a calling to use your voice?
I do. And if someone had told me, a year and a half ago, you're going to come out as a transgender man and now you're going to become a transgender awareness kind of activist, I would have said, no, what do you mean? But yes, I really hope that being able to talk about this, and especially my situation where I'm kind of in between, mm-hmm. I'm living in this female body, but as a man, right. I'm hoping that it can make more space for people to feel free to express themselves, because maybe other people don't always fit in a box too, And
like you said, New York, we're very diverse and we're very inclusive, but for someone living in a different country or, middle America, they might not have the same outpouring of support. So for someone like you to be like, hey, I get where you're coming from, that could give them an ability to feel less alone.
I hope so. And I came from a really conservative Christian background, mm-hmm. which is why it took me so long to make this realization. Mm-hmm. And so I have a lot of compassion for people who are stuck in places that don't embrace this kind of gender identity so easily.
Right. And letting them be their genuine selves. You are now in the opera Tabula Rasa.
I was in May.
Oh,
that's the clip that you saw.
What was that role like?
It was great. I got to play Tristan Tzara, who is this famous Dada poet. And the opera was actually a very feminist opera about Kiki de Montparnasse. So I was just playing like a sidekick to kind of set the stage and the time period. But my aria that they wrote for me, the song, the text was all about new beginnings and celebrating making things that are outside of normal boundaries. And that was at the same moment that I was publicly coming out to the industry.
That was very poetic then.
It was really special. It was really special. And I was in a room full of people every day who said, "Hey, man, how's it going? Hey, dude. Hey, Mr. Liz," and just really embraced me during my transition.
What was that like, having people around you kind of embrace the transition, but also being called different pronouns than you ever were before? Did you finally feel like this is resonating with me? This is making sense?
When someone says Liz, he, like, fireworks go off in my brain. I have a son, which is also another experience, having a child in the wrong body. But when he calls me daddy, I just like light up, and feel a kind of happiness that I didn't know existed before. So yes, like, pronouns matter and are just really bring me so much joy.
I could see that. I could see
yeah,
that.
sorry, I'm getting all emotional.
No, that's okay. I mean, this is a huge transition, and I think people need to understand, and for so many people out there that have family members that might be going through that, for them to understand, like, the pronouns make a world of difference. Mm-hmm. It's a big thing.
Yeah, so it makes me just so happy to be able to feel like myself. Or today to be able to be here wearing this and with my hair pulled back instead of wearing, a ton of makeup and a dress and everything.
Finally, what do you wish people knew about people who identify as trans? What is something like a teachable moment here?
Oh, that's such a big question.
It is a big question.
I think that transgender people, just like anyone else, just want to be seen as people. Mm-hmm. And I think if you are uncomfortable with what their pronouns might be, or sometimes we get afraid of I sometimes messed up my own pronouns when I came out, or would mess up friends' pronouns, ask questions and get to know them and say how can I support you? Mm-hmm. And I think that that's the best thing you can do for transgender people. Just say, hey, how can I help you?
Right. I think the intention of people who might be nervous, like you said, or unsure what to say or how to address their the same family member or the same friend, but who's going into a different, a different gender role, can be scary.
And it takes time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not judging someone if they say Liz, she.
Yeah.
It might take them a couple weeks. Some people it takes a couple days. So just to encourage other people to try to make that leap and not be so worried about. Yeah.
Oh, and I wanted to talk about Bumble, most inspiring list.
That was a huge surprise.
Your face is everywhere. Was that incredibly kind of humbling, or also a little bit embarrassing?
It was a little bit embarrassing when I went to Times Square and saw my picture there. That right there.
Oh yeah, looking.
Yeah, I was actually pretty embarrassed, but then it's been really empowering. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just been so encouraging to see myself as myself around town.
Yeah, well, you're having a banner year, and I'm excited to see you in upcoming operas. So you'll have to let us know what shows you have lined up next.
Absolutely.
Congratulations on everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.